Says there's a dire need for blood here in Northeast Ohio. We have the story on what's causing the shortage. Eggs in the freezer. What it really takes to retrieve and freeze your eggs. It's the science and cost behind the increasingly popular procedure.
And the Browns are back. Your kids aren't the only ones going to summer camp. The Browns are all in town this week for mini camp. Jimmy is here to tell us what they're up to and how they're looking for the upcoming season. What's new starts right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to What's New. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Jay Crawford. I think everybody can agree it has been a stunner of a day today with the sun.
Yeah.
Cool, comfortable conditions.
And the cool air felt good after the 90s we had over the weekend. It really was a beauty out there. Betsy, a very good afternoon to you and to everyone watching at home. Thanks so much for choosing What's New.
First at 5 today, the retrial of Tevin Biles-Thomas, the brother of Olympic gymnast Simone Biles. It ended in dramatic fashion after the murder trial was dismissed. Our Romney Smith is live downtown with more on today's events. Romney?
Good afternoon, Betsy. The mother of one of the victims understandably lashed out in pain and anger immediately following the judge's response to grant the motion from the defense to dismiss the trial based on the fact that out of the 18 witnesses, including police and first responders, that no one could positively identify Tevin Biles-Thomas as the shooter. Take a listen and a look.
I thank everyone for their effort. And my heart goes out to the families of the victims. We're in recess.
Now, keep in mind, this is the mother of one of the victims who will never get to hug or kiss her son again, who lunged toward Tevin in court. Because the first trial ended with a mistrial and this second murder trial was dismissed, that's it. There will be no third trial. Now, as you can see, we got our hands on the full courtroom video. I am continuing to go through that right now, and we'll have even more for you tonight at 6. But as you can see, a very dramatic end to this trial, a mother clearly in pain.
Very emotional day today, Romney. Thanks so much. We look forward to your report at 6.
Well, Betsy, the pandemic highlighted the importance of having reliable access to high-speed internet for all Ohioans. But now, a proposed law would prevent government entities from stepping in and providing permanent fixes, meaning municipal broadband services could be no more. Brandon Simmons is here to explain what exactly is going on here. Brandon, good afternoon. This could negatively impact tens of thousands of Ohioans.
Yeah, Jay, you're right about that. The digital divide is a big problem nationwide. Certain areas have better access to internet than others. And when telecom providers aren't willing to fix the problem, we've seen government come in to provide some of those rescue solutions. Now, case in point, East Cleveland residents didn't have many internet service provider options, so the state worked to create a public-private partnership to bring a new wireless solution to that neighborhood back in April. On a much larger scale, for years, cities like Hudson and Fairlawn have had fiber gigabit services where telecom companies weren't willing to come in and make investments. But late changes made to the state budget bill by Senate Republicans could put an end to all of those types of projects. And local leaders and the state's Lieutenant Governor John Husted say that would be a huge mistake.
With the passage of the most recent Senate bill, we will neither have any money or even the authority to do these kinds of projects in the future. And we're urging members of the General Assembly to reconsider, restore the money, restore our ability to solve the problem of getting high-speed internet to the people that don't have it.
Now, so far, no Senate Republican is taking credit for introducing the amendment in question, which Husted says is a sign that it's not worth advocating for and therefore probably not a good idea in the first place. Now, right now, there are about 1 million Ohioans that lack access to high-speed internet and many more who live in areas that have slow or unreliable connections, Jay, and fixing that problem isn't possible with this type of legislation in play.
All right, Brandon Simmons live this afternoon for us here on What's New. Brandon, thanks.
Well, monthly payments under the new child tax credit begin hitting bank accounts next month, and registration is now underway for some families. Will Ewick has details on what you need to know and tells us why some are saying no thanks.
Free money. Oh my goodness. The government is doing a wonderful thing for those with children.
The expanded child tax credit program takes money normally received as a refund after filing your taxes each year and not only increases it, but also sends it out monthly starting July 15th.
We're going to start getting money right now when people have a need.
The new credit increases the benefit from $2,000 to $3,000 per child under 17 years old, with an additional $600 for children under 6. Those are the max amounts, and available for single parents making less than $75,000 and married couples filing jointly making less than $150,000. But what about parents who don't file taxes?
This type of credit is really special, and it's what's called a refundable tax credit. And that means you don't have to owe taxes to get the credit. In fact, you can have no income whatsoever and still get the credit.
Today, the IRS debuted a new non-filer sign-up portal for low-income families who don't file taxes to get the credit and monthly payments as well.
If we agree that parents need a little extra help, well, why would we differentiate between the parents that have an income high enough to pay taxes and those who don't?
Another portal is set to launch later this month to help families update their info. So if you've had another child or a significant drop in income, it'll make sure you get the max amount. It'll also allow families to opt out of the monthly payments, but waiting to receive the full lump sum during tax season is something Bill says really only makes sense for those who typically owe tax money or are saving up for a big purchase and afraid they'll just spend it.
So there are some really good reasons why some people may want to not start taking the money in July 15th. But being able to get that extra $250 a month to $300 a month into the hands of the parents right now can be very, very beneficial.
Will Ewick, 3 News.
Well, thank you very much. Well, Betsy, as more and more of us are back out and about as we resume our lives to pre-pandemic levels, trauma cases and the number of trauma cases, organ transplants and elective surgeries, they're all on the rise. And as a result, that has put a huge strain on the nation's blood supply. In fact, a blood shortage is gripping the United States right now, and donors of all blood types are desperately needed. Right now, there's only a half-day's supply of type O blood left in northern Ohio. Over the past 3 months, Red Cross, who supplies 40% of the nation's blood, has seen a 10% uptick in the number of units hospitals are requesting. Those numbers compared to the same time frame in 2019. Red Cross has seen blood shortages in the past, but this time the shortage is directly tied to COVID.
As patients who previously deferred their treatment are going back now after restrictions have eased from the pandemic, and they're sicker than they were before, and thus they need additional transfusions.
Less than 38% of the population is eligible to donate blood. If you can, please consider it. Folks who received the COVID shot, you can still donate blood. For a complete list of places you can give blood in Cleveland, go to our website. It is WKYC.com.
Well, if you haven't joined us on our 3 What's New Facebook page, I thought this was pretty interesting. I had a post from a gal who asked, why is hail falling when it's 84 degrees outside? Joyce said this is from her sister in Fort Collins, Colorado. And Joyce, the reason it still falls is the same reason it falls here. Actually, ice and hail, it's all formed in the highest parts of the atmosphere where temperatures are well below freezing. Those little hailstones are basically frozen raindrops. They get tossed around in the thunderstorm and they kind of get bigger and bigger, and eventually the updrafts can't support them, so the hailstones fall. It doesn't matter if it's in Fort Collins, Colorado, in Copley, Ohio, in Boston, Massachusetts, Dallas, Texas. Hail happens everywhere. But here's the thing, with the surface temperature at 84, that hail probably didn't last too long once it hit the ground.
Yeah, I imagine it melted. Now, I would guess that they've got to be pretty big to begin with if they can fall through the atmosphere and still survive, right?
Well, it's actually, they grow as they're in the atmosphere. So the updrafts are what are basically the genesis of the hail. So that takes the raindrops way up into the top of the thunderstorm.
But as it's falling through the air?
They fall. The updraft can pick them back up and take them back up. That's how you get those supersized size hailstones. They get 7-inch
They're just swirling
hailstones.
around in there.
Those updrafts really help to hold those
That's
hailstones
fascinating.
high.
Yeah.
So eventually they fall. Sometimes they hurt if they hit you. So
yeah, and they can leave a mark too if they're big enough.
Yeah, they can cause a lot of damage.
All right, coming up next on What's New, last week Stephanie Haney brought us a very interesting story about the increase in women who are freezing their eggs. Coming up, she takes us through the process and shares her experience with the procedure.
Plus, Chrissy Teigen is still dealing with the fallout from her bullying scandal. Kiara Cotton has the latest ahead in Pot Break.
And Jason Fraser in again for Matt Wintz. Jay, the cooler air, I have to say, it felt really, really good today.
I know it did, and you know what? It is certainly a perfect day to do an outside jog or maybe take a walk in around Northeast Ohio. The good news is the refreshing air is only about to get better. I'll have details on that coming up on the other side of this break. But before we go to break, if you're heading outside maybe to do a little bit of dining, it is going to be an absolutely picture-perfect night. We're expecting temps in the 60s and mainly clear skies. I'm timing out what you can expect not only for tomorrow, but the rest of the week, including some more humidity returning right after this.
Okay. Yep, we are talking about egg freezing and the long drawn out process with it and how, well, we'll talk about, okay, great.
Listen, you're not alone. This one sport lost a lot of fans over there. A lot of you have. A lot of you have. It's woven into my DNA, or I would have walked away too. I just can't give it up. I love it so much. But I have
Good? Okay.
friends that have been big fans their whole lives, and they were like,
Last week on What's New, we looked into the growing trend of women freezing their eggs, particularly in the wake of the pandemic. This week, our digital anchor Stephanie Haney has a closer look at the science behind it and what it feels like to go through it.
You may have seen it on reality TV.
So I've been thinking about freezing my eggs.
Or come across a post on social media like this one from Amy Schumer. But freezing your eggs isn't just for celebrities.
So the interest in egg freezing has grown tremendously. The American Society of Reproductive Medicine said that it was no longer an experimental treatment usually reserved for people that are going through cancer treatments. It became offered to the mainstream public as a way to preserve their fertility.
Dr. Priya Masalil with Reproductive Gynecology and Infertility also credits the increased interest to better freezing technology, expanded insurance coverage, and access to boutique fertility services offered by companies like hers, with 4 locations in Northeast Ohio alone.
We're seeing this tsunami effect of patients that know that this is a possibility for them.
When I froze my eggs 2 years ago, I thought it would take 3 weeks, but it took me more than 7 months from start to finish.
More blood drawing.
One of the first steps is an ultrasound to see how many eggs you might be able to grow.
The antral follicle count is essentially the number of follicles that you see when an ultrasound is performed on these ovaries. The hope is that this follicle will respond to the drugs that she will be taking to grow her eggs.
And as Dr. Marjan Adaran, IVF director at the Cleveland Clinic, recently explained on my podcast, there's also a blood test to estimate the potential success of the procedure.
If the anti-Mullerian hormone is a higher number, it typically seems to indicate that there are more follicles that are present in this individual, and that hopefully she will respond better to the medications.
If you're trying to freeze your eggs, ideally you want that AMH level to fall between 2 and 7. Mine started out at 0.52, likely suppressed by birth control.
Depending on what's going on with that woman, whether she's on birth control, what her age is, there's different time frames. The process of egg freezing itself is only about, I say, 7 to 12 days of medicine, probably 3 to 4 visits, and 1 egg harvesting.
I waited 7 months to see my AMH levels rise before actually starting the process.
Hello.
And then things moved fast, from early morning monitoring appointments.
Good morning, bright and early on this Monday.
To mastering the tools.
Okay, here we go. My first unboxing. This is a little bit overwhelming.
Mixing my own medications.
Oh no, wait, I did that wrong.
And the scariest part.
Lift it all up and just a quick pinch. How does anyone do this to themselves?
Learning how to give myself the injections.
I'm just kidding. You can totally do this to yourself. I'm being dramatic.
All this to stimulate your ovaries to grow your eggs in the hopes that they can be retrieved and then frozen. It's a big commitment to an unknown outcome. At my first check-in for the actual procedure, my ultrasound showed the most follicles yet.
16 is so much better.
But from those 16 follicles, 8 had grown enough to retrieve. Thankfully, all 8 of those were mature enough to freeze, but that's not always the case. Dr. Masalil says age is the biggest factor when it comes to how successful people are with egg freezing, just like getting pregnant naturally.
People don't think about egg freezing until they're 35, 38, and frankly, by then you may have to go through multiple cycles in order to yield a dozen eggs or 2 dozen eggs that really have a good probability of being able to use them.
And like a lot of people, I hope I never have to use them, but I'm glad they're there if I need them to try to start a family.
The push is not only to egg freeze, but egg freeze early so you can actually use these eggs if you need to.
For me, doing this feels like an insurance policy because you never know what life might bring. And about those injections, I promise you, they really are not that bad. If I can do it, you can do it. And you can see more of my experience on my Instagram page. That's at _Stephanie Haney. Feel free to message me about it. And stay tuned for next week, Betsy, because that's when we look at the total cost of these fertility treatments, what insurance companies and employers are covering, and the legal protections to think about.
I know there are so many women out there who have been curious about this or wondering, and I think, applause to you for telling your story, because there's so many people who can learn from you in this. It's a little bit of a comforting thing.
It was very scary to me until I knew about it, so that's the hope here, is just kind of demystify it a little bit. So thank you, Betsy.
Well done, Steph. Thanks.
All right, it is absolutely gorgeous outside. I don't know how long it's going to stay like this, but Jason Fraser back in for Matt Wintz. I hope, Jason, that we get at least another couple of days of this before we bounce back into the high heat.
Absolutely. And you know what? The reason why, hold on, I want to make sure I'm looking at the right camera there. Here we go. Just going to move that out the way. Live TV, everybody. See what happens when the weekend guy fills in for the regular weekday guy. We have no idea what's going on here.
Roll with the punches, man. Roll with the punches.
But at least, though, I give you some good weather, right? I mean, that's, of course, the good thing. And you know what, friends? It's only going to slowly improve here over the next couple of days. First, let's talk about what's going to be happening tonight. The Orioles are going to be taking on the Indians over at Progressive Field. It's going to be a beautiful one tonight for some baseball, temps in the 60s. However, team's going to have to deal with a little bit of some wind. Right now, we have winds coming out of the north at about 13 miles per hour. That has led the National Weather Service to issue an alert about some rip currents, and it includes obviously Ashtabula, the Lakeshore, Cuyahoga, Erie, as well as Lorain counties. So if you are potentially thinking about heading to the shore tonight, just be very careful if you're thinking about taking a dip in there because of course you could end up getting caught up in those rip currents. As far as temps go, that north wind is certainly cooling things down, right? 70 degrees over at the Cuyahoga County Airport, as well as Worcester, 73. Over in Mansfield, Doppler radar, some of you are seeing a little bit of cloud cover, but we are not seeing any moisture. Some of those quick rain showers that we saw last night have now moved to our east. However, it is kicking up just a few clouds just to our west. So we are going to have to deal with some on and off again cloud cover over the next couple of hours. Let's go hour by hour, sponsored in part by our friends at National Design Mart. You'll notice that temperatures tonight will be very, I'm calling it refreshing, not cold, certainly refreshing. Some of you will see temperatures into the 50s, especially in inland places like Akron, as well as Canton, Worcester, Dover, Millersburg, even Mansfield may get into the low to mid 50s. And then tomorrow morning should be a beautiful sunrise just before 6 o'clock. And then we will see temperatures slowly start to improve. And we'll see a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. We're going to warm up to a high near 70 degrees. And then tomorrow night we'll go down into the 50s once again. Here's a look right now at your Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook. I think our best chance for another round of some showers doesn't come until Friday, my friends. Thursday, the return of seeing some humidity is going to end up happening. And can you believe it? Sunday is the first official day of summer. I'm looking forward to it. I know we talked about it last night with me wearing a special type of shorts, and Betsy's face was absolutely hilarious. I won't talk about that for tonight.
That would be the pink shorts, I believe.
The pink short shorts.
Said, yes.
I absolutely love them.
That was that was yesterday.
Let's talk about something else today.
Now it's back. All right, Jason, thank you so much.
See you later.
All righty. Next on What's New, Amazon taking Prime Day to the next level with its Prime Day concert talent lineup. We'll tell you who is expected to perform.
And imagine waking up to this guy.
Hello.
We have all the details ahead. It's our Worth the Watch, and you have to see it.
That's fun.
Like I tried to get it.
I am, Al.
In February.
Chrissy Teigen still attempting to make amends to those she's hurt in the past with her social media attacks. Here's Kara Cotton now with all the details on that story and other entertainment headlines. It's all in our Tuesday Pop Break.
Chrissy Teigen is trying to own her mistakes. In a lengthy piece for Medium, the mom, model, and entrepreneur issued a second public apology for her past cyberbullying. She wrote, "Not a day, not a single moment has passed where I haven't felt the crushing weight of regret for the things I've said in the past." Hours after the article was published, designer Michael Costello took to social media saying her past actions caused him to contemplate suicide. In a post detailing a 2014 incident, he alleges that Teigen fueled rumors that he was a racist. He wrote, "I am not okay. To this day, I am still not able to recover from the years of trauma I have experienced. Here's to hoping everyone can heal and find peace and closure." We all know that Amazon has the deals, but as of late, they've been stepping up in the entertainment department. The online retailer announced yesterday the lineup for its annual Prime Day concert. The three-part immersive music experience will feature headliners Billie Eilish, Her, and Cleveland's own Kid Cudi. Each artist has recorded a unique 25-minute set for the virtual show. The event will air on Prime Video starting June 17th. And Joe Jonas had an Atlanta Soul Cycle class burning up over the weekend. The singer was in town on business and had a free afternoon and decided he could use a good workout. What was supposed to be your average Jonas Brothers versus One Direction workout class was quickly turned up with an appearance from the 31-year-old singer.
Joe Jonas, everybody! We're real right now. This is live. This is live.
Joe shared video from the surprise on social media where he can be seen cheering on the participants and even at one point jumping on a bike himself. Hey, One Direction, it's going to be really hard to top that experience.
Listen, I would pick the Jonas Brothers over One Direction any day. But that right there, that's just the icing on the cake, guys.
That's pretty cool.
Makes the decision easy.
Yeah, I think some of the women in the class were like fixing their hair. Trying, oh my God, he's in here.
I just can't even imagine somebody walking in and you're all like, because you sweat it out. You're gross.
Oh,
and then somebody like that walks in and they're just like, oh, heck.
Party's over.
Right?
Take me as I am. Huh?
Watch their blood pressure monitor go up and up and up.
Yeah.
Have you seen this, by the way? Check this out. Knock, knock is the question. Who's there? And it's this guy. This is our worth a watch today. This giant alligator comes rolling up into the person's front doorstep.
Like a boss.
In Florida. No surprise there. It happened in Parrish, Florida. It's along the Gulf Coast. And thankfully, nobody answered the door. The homeowner actually saw it all when he was checking his security camera video. But seriously, they are very curious critters. But he's tangling with the chair there and all that stuff. You know, usually they like to just be alone and they'll leave everybody some distance. He walked away, nobody hurt, but that's
so I have these little encounters where my home camera will go off and I'll check the app and I'll look, and it's usually like a little bitty bird. Sometimes a wasp will get really close to the camera and that will set it off. I'm glad it was that guy and not my
alligator.
house.
Yeah. That one's a little bit nerve-wracking.
He's looking in the window. What are they cooking in there? What you got? That's fantastic. All right, coming up in the next half hour, what's new? The Browns mini camp is underway in Berea. Jim Donovan's going to join us with all of the Browns buzz.
Plus, there is a new app out there that can turn a picture of anyone into a cartoon character. You may have seen this. It's pretty cool. We'll tell you about all that coming up.
I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3.
How you doing, Jimmy?
Hello, hello, hello.
How'd they look?
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
First at 5:30, here are three things you need to know. The murder case against Simone Biles' brother was dismissed in Cleveland today. The judge ruled that prosecutors just did not present enough evidence against Tevin Biles-Thomas to convict him. He was facing multiple counts of murder, voluntary manslaughter, felonious assault, and perjury in connection with three men who were killed at a New Year's Eve party. This was back in 2018. Moments after the decision, a woman charged towards Biles-Thomas, yelling, "He killed her baby." Deputies stopped her before she got to him. We will have much more on this story that's coming up tonight at 6 on What Matters Most.
The Red Cross says we are facing a severe blood shortage here in Northeast Ohio. The organization says that there's been an increase in trauma cases, organ transplants, and elective surgeries. The Red Cross says there's a 10% jump in demand at trauma centers compared to 2019. They need all blood types, but especially type O and platelets. We have all the information on how to schedule an appointment to make a donation at WKYC.com.
And help is on the way for qualifying parents. 1 month from today, the new child tax credit will begin. The expanded program takes money that would normally be received as a refund after you file your taxes, and it will instead be sent out beginning monthly starting July 15th. Depending on your income, the payments will be increased from $2,000 to $3,000 per child under 17. There will also be an additional $600 for kids under 6. The IRS launched a new portal for non-tax filing parents to sign up. Another portal will launch later this month to help families update their information. Certainly good news for many of our viewers, and we're happy about that. And with that, we welcome you back for the second half hour of What's New. Along with Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, can you believe it? Jason mentioned this earlier, but we are just 5 days away from the start of summer. Our countdown continues. Of course, we are waiting on that summer solstice to take place, and boy, what a beautiful day it is expected to be. We'll have more details on that forecast coming up in just a little bit.
And the only bummer about that is then the days start to get shorter.
I know.
You know,
we're kind of at our peak right now. So
Yeah.
It's nice when you go outside at 9:30 at night and you can still see what's going on. It's twilight. Kids are getting ready to play flashlight tag. Super fun stuff.
Yep, I remember those games very well. All right, so it is the middle of June, and that means the start of football season is less than 3 months away. How about that? But let's face it, it's always Brown season in Cleveland. The Browns are back in Berea for the start of minicamp, and that's where we find the voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, who is out there today. Jimmy, I don't know about you, but I get excited every year for the start of Brown season. But I honestly haven't felt this kind of enthusiasm and hope for the beginning of a Brown season since I was a teenager, and that was a lot of years ago.
I would compare today, the opening day of mandatory minicamp, to the day the Beatles touched down on American soil and got ready to go on the Ed Sullivan Show. I mean,
and
that was
everyone
it.
went crazy.
I might be a little bit out over my skis on this, but that was the excitement. So I felt it too, okay?
Very good. I'm
You're
glad I'm
right
not
there.
alone.
You're not alone on that. I mean, this is pretty special. It is exciting. To the eye, they look loaded with talent. And I do say this, they took the word mandatory very, very seriously. They were all there today. I mean, they were all there today. Myles Garrett was there. Odell Beckham Jr., helmet on, taking part in individual drills, not team drills, but individual drills. Jadeveon Clowney, he's there. Put him on the other side of Myles Garrett and dream of a great, great pass rush. It was great to see as the Browns got ready to go on day one of mandatory minicamp, and they look physically ready to go and very excited to play. Now, to the Browns offense, which really carried the football team last year to the 11-5 mark, and that win in the playoffs over the Steelers and the just miss in Kansas City. Here's the great part about this offseason. Baker Mayfield is playing in the same offense, for the same head coach, for the same offensive coordinator, with the same quarterback coach. And because of all that, this offense is not being taught. It's being grown. It's getting better and better. They're putting in all kinds of new stuff. They're not starting at square one anymore.
This is the first time I'm in person with them, but we've been on a lot of Zoom calls together. So throughout the course of this offseason program, going all the way back to April, we've installed the offense. We've watched tape together. We've added new plays, talked about old plays. So we have a pretty good feel for where Baker is, really where a bunch of the guys that are returning are. So we have work, we have room to grow, we have work to do. And this was a step today, was a step in that direction.
All right, now consider this. In the old days, okay, when they would come to mandatory minicamp, okay, he would have a new offensive coordinator and a new offense, and they would say, "Hi, Baker, this is a football, and the left tackle goes over here, and the right tackle goes over here." So all of that is gone. I want to give you the best news of the day. Business being done by the Browns, okay? Denzel Ward revealed today that his representatives have begun long-term contract extension talks with the Browns. Ward says he wants to play his entire career in Cleveland as a Brown.
We're okay with that.
More good news. Nick Chubb revealed today, as he goes into the last year of his contract, remember they only have him because he was a second-round pick under control for 4 years, and this is his 4th year, all right? He revealed today that his representatives have begun long-term contract extensions with the Cleveland Browns, and he said the only place I want to be is in Cleveland. Now, add to something here, I also believe that Baker Mayfield's representatives have begun long-term contract extension talks with the Cleveland Browns. Players want money, okay, that drives the bus, no doubt about it. But when you hear players saying, "Hey, listen, I want to play here. In fact, I see myself playing here."
We haven't seen that in a while.
My entire career, man, I'll tell you what, their cars were running here, okay, in the past when they were winless and they could get out of here. That's not the case anymore. That means the players realize that this is pretty special. They can get paid, but more importantly, they can win here.
Well, and then the other part of it is, too, other players in the league see that structure becoming more solid, and they go, that's what I want to play for.
Jadeveon Clowney being a perfect example. Took an $8.5 million deal with the Browns on a 1-year deal because he says, I want to play on the other side of Myles Garrett. I like what they did last year. I think they're ready to win, and I want to win with them.
Well, so we want you to do that, too.
Absolutely. Really great stuff going on out there.
You're like, it's like Santa Claus on June 15th. Jimmy strolls in here and he just made my day.
I know. Yeah, and it really started with the Beatles.
It really did.
Yeah,
that set the tone.
You teed it up beautifully.
All right.
Jimmy, we'll see you at 6 with much more on the Browns and minicamp.
You got it.
Man, it's like I'm a kid at Christmas.
There you go.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All
Great
right.
news. Coming up, the traditional roles are changing when it comes to what moms and dads really do at home. Our Marine Kyle checks in with meteorologist Matt Wintz for his perspective.
And have you heard about this? There's some major league pitchers that are now embroiled in a cheating scandal. We'll tell you all about that coming up in Clicking in Cleveland. Our Jason Fraser joins us now, stepping in for Matt Wentz, who is on vacation this week. Jason, it kind of feels like we're in a little bit of a good groove now that the forecast has changed a little bit.
Yeah, I've been calling it refreshing. It's great football weather, great baseball weather. I know we got a game tonight over at Progressive Field. It's also one of those nights where, Betsy, maybe you want to go outside, maybe do a little barbecuing, maybe invite your favorite, weather team over. Hint, hint. What do you think?
I think that would be just fine by me.
Yeah, I think it would be just fine by me too. All right, let's also talk about these winds right now. Some of you are seeing that north wind. It's moving over Lake Erie right now, and that's making temperatures feel just a little bit cooler. It's ranging anywhere from about 10 to about 15 miles per hour. It is one of the things that has triggered I'll call it a baby warning. All right, it's not a real warning, but it's just a concern. It's a weather statement from the National Weather Service about the potential for some rip currents that are developing along the lakeshore. So the winds are kicking up some of the waves. So just be careful if you decide to hop in. All right, as far as temps go, 70 degrees over at the Cuyahoga County Airport, 69 over in Ashtabula, 75 over in Dover. Doppler radar, despite just a few clouds that have developed here, we have not seen any rain showers today. As a matter of fact, I'm not expecting any moisture tonight or tomorrow. The system that was moving across our area yesterday that kicked off just a few of those light to moderate thunderstorms has shifted eastward. Behind it, look at that. I mean, we're pretty much A-OK in terms of precip. National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. So we will continue to see temps dipping down today. We will end up seeing the humidity go away. It is going to be a very comfortable night. Matter of fact, if you were heading outside, you may end up needing a light jacket or maybe even a light sweater, as we'll see temperatures returning to the low end of the 60s. I do think even some spots may even hit the 50s. Tomorrow morning is going to be a gorgeous one. We'll see temperatures starting out in the 50s, and that sunrise will happen right around 6 o'clock. By the afternoon time, we're going to warm up very close to about 70 degrees, and we'll see a mix of sun and clouds. And then tomorrow night, mainly clear skies. Here's a look right now at your Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook. So tomorrow we'll top out near 72 degrees, and then here comes the heat and humidity, friends. 83 by Thursday, 82 on Friday. Saturday, we are going to end up, or I should say Friday night into Saturday, that is going to be our next chance for potentially seeing some moisture move across our region. And then Sunday, here comes summer, and I am looking forward to it.
I think a lot of folks definitely are, and this is this time of the year where we kind of go back and forth. Just a little bit ago, we had people like, oh, when is this humidity and heat going to go away? Today, I've heard people saying, it's cold, I'm chilly. And it's like, come on, folks.
You know what? It could be worse, Betsy. We could be talking about snow, right? I mean, I hate to say that, but, we could be.
We're actually in the clear for snow for now.
Hey, listen, it's Northeast Ohio.
Fingers crossed.
It's Northeast Ohio. I'd never say we're in the clear with snow.
You got it. All right. Thanks so much, Jason. We'll see you again at 7.
Well, this past year, with families working from home and juggling to keep the balance, dads took on more household chores than ever before. And researchers are finding that gender roles assigned to housework are actually breaking down at a faster rate. How fatherhood is changing from generations past is one topic our Maureen Kyle tackled in her Mom Squad pod with Matt Wentz this week.
I don't enjoy doing laundry, and I don't, I can't imagine many dads are honest about that and say, this isn't for me. But that's an internal battle for me, because I think the media and movies and all of that portray a dad that is supposed to be the bread maker, that's supposed to be, the powerful one that doesn't have to clean or change a diaper and stuff. I feel like the media is still kind of stuck on that, and they're not portraying the role of most dads today, which are more caretaker than they used to be. So.
Maureen and Matt also talked about their favorite memories about their own dads. It's all on her podcast. You can check out our Mom Squad pod now, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I think Matt's absolutely right. And look, we got to witness it all from these seats as we were watching the 5 o'clock show. Matt was juggling in many times at the same time, being a new father to yet his third child while he was delivering the weathercast each night. And I will say, and I think you would agree with this, of all of the comments that we heard during the pandemic about our shows, I think most of them had to do with, I love watching Matt with his kids.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
It was, and it was a struggle for him, because he's trying to balance, weather forecasting is very demanding. You have to be focused. It's very hard to have a cohesive, unified, great-looking forecast when you have somebody tugging on your pant leg.
He did it.
You have to stop and go do this, and stop and go do this. And he managed to do it, and it's been just awesome to watch him not only evolve as a father, but as somebody who is so able to manage so many things at once, which is why he's on vacation this week.
A much-needed vacation. Very funny.
Well, next for us here on What's New, digital anchor Stephanie Haney is back. She's been tracking what's clicking in Cleveland online. She's up next with more.
And have you seen these cartoonish-looking characters popping up all over social media? Well, in our Tech Tuesday segment, an expert weighs in on the safety of the app. And as we head to break, here's a little something that'll make you smile. I think we can all relate to how these dogs are feeling. Clementine, who lives in Chicago, finally got reunited with her old friend Waldo, who lives in Dallas. And Betsy, the wagging tail, gives it away. They are thrilled to see one another. We will be right back.
Yes. I'm at the top of this section. Yeah. A little bit more? Okay. Okay, I'll just note that and stand a little off of it. Moves around. Yeah.
It's a good one. All right, well, it's time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, what is clicking in Cleveland?
Well, Betsy, Major League Baseball thinks it has a problem with pitching. Now, this is due to record strikeouts and an overall league batting average that's lower than it's been in 50 years. So they've looked into foreign substances on the ball. And in a review of baseballs, they found dark, sticky substances that help pitchers grip it, but also make it harder to hit. So now they're threatening pitchers with 10-game suspensions for using illegal substances that give this edge. And this all starts June 21st. It's that time of year again for the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo's Asian Lantern Festival. This is a gorgeous event to walk through. The zoo will be transformed with thousands of beautiful light displays, and live performances will return as part of this year's celebration. This year, the festival runs from July 14th through September 5th, Thursdays through Sunday evenings, and tickets are available now. And one of our own continues to win in the game of love on The Bachelorette. Akron's own Michael Alio got a rose again last night from Bachelorette Katie Thurston, right after we saw them share their first on-camera kiss. At the end of each episode, producers show previews of what's to come, and in that we see the two on an adventurous date, kissing by a dune buggy. Now, in previous interviews, Katie called Michael the best date, husband material, and father material, which makes a lot of sense since he's a single dad to a 4-year-old son named James. We wish Michael the best, and we look forward to keeping track of his fight for Katie's heart. And Jay, we know you are notorious for never telling dad jokes. At least that's the line that we hear. So we want to collect some options for you just in case you want to try some out with Father's Day coming up. So everybody go to WKYC.com, click on the article, and share your favorite dad jokes with us, and we'll share some this week. Maybe Jay can test some out.
I have a dad joke for you. Ready?
Of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
What's a dad joke? Come on, that's a dad joke.
That is a dad.
I texted my kids last year because we did this last year, and my kid said, "Dad, honestly, I can't think of anything that comes to mind. You really don't tell dad jokes." But I just did.
Yep, well, there's at least one.
You got us, you stinker.
Hey, you gotta watch us crazy dads.
Oh, that guy, I tell you, he gets us every time. All right, Stephanie, thank you so much.
That went over like a lead balloon.
Cornball. Oh, my goodness. All right, it is Tech Tuesday, everybody, and today's tech stories are all about your privacy. First up, you might remember last year when Facebook users were sharing throwback photos of their senior photos as a way to support the graduating class. Well, guess what? It's happening again. And the FBI and the BBB, Better Business Bureau, are telling people to stop doing that. The FBI says sharing the name of your high school or the year that you graduated can help hackers figure out your passwords. And even if you think it's okay because you're just sharing with friends, the Better Business Bureau warns that even if your privacy settings are high, others will be able to see it.
Yeah. All right, by now you've probably all seen these cartoonish-looking pictures that are popping up all over Facebook and Instagram. People are creating these pictures by downloading a picture of themselves on the app called Voila. It then generates a 2D and 3D cartoon renaissance and caricature. We even did one for our What's New team. And quite frankly, I'm a little spooked out by me. That would be me in the left. There's Betsy on the right. Betsy, you look like a Disney princess.
Look like I'm 6.
There's Stephanie Haney and Matt Wintz, and that is Kiera Cotton down there in the bottom right. Now, there's no doubt this is fun, but experts say we should take just a second to consider where the pictures could go.
We do this all the time in Facebook, for example. Everything you put on Facebook is the property of Facebook. So, I don't want to be an alarmist, but anything on the internet is fair game.
Now, in the case of Voila, the app can use images that you upload. They can use them in marketing and advertising campaigns. They don't have to tell you about it, and they do not have to pay you for it. It can also track your activity when you're not using the app, but you can deny them access to that if you want. You can also deny them access to all of your photos. Bottom line, take the time to read the fine print before handing over your personal information. And on that note, Betsy, I just chuckle because most of the fine print is like 40 scroll ups and you get all the way down to the bottom. Who reads that?
That's the thing. That's what they count on, is that you're not going to read it. But if you go through and you actually read some of the stuff that's in there that's written in, you're like, I don't want them to have that access.
No, nor should they have access to it. So I want to propose a common sense piece of legislation right here on What's New. Will you co-sign it?
You bet.
Here it is. From now on, if an app can't put in 150 words or less everything you need to know about that app, they shouldn't be allowed to share it. I mean, come on. Why 40 pages of that stuff?
Because it's all the legal schmeagle stuff that they don't want to have to deal with. You don't have to deal with.
To something I'll actually read.
And keep in mind, the law is always on the side of the app when you're signing the app's legal
you aren't kidding.
stuff.
Yep,
so
it is. But I downloaded it, and it's pretty fun.
Of course you did.
All of that being said, I had to. It's pretty cool, actually. All right, it's a huge birthday celebration for one grandmother, and the family is celebrating in a very special way. That story's coming up.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, National Park visitation boom. What rangers are saying you should do before taking a trip to one this summer.
Not good, but thanks. Different from the turntable.
Al, how are you? Good evening, and thanks for being with us. I'm Russ Mitchell, and I'm Laura Queso, who's up here tonight.
Oh, as soon as I walked away, sorry. Check 1, 2, 3, Brandon's microphone. We're still talking about, forget what we're talking about today. We're talking about new laws that.
Hello, mic check. This is Ronnie. We're still talking about Tevin Biles-Thomas. Before I know it. Hi. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are out here at the Red Cross.
Which, hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Al, mic check. Laura Queso's mic.
Well, this is so cute. A North Carolina family put together a photo shoot to celebrate their grandmother's 90th birthday. They dressed Grandma up in a light pink tutu and a shirt that reads, "It took 90 years to look this good." Social media ate up these pictures, sharing them more than 48,000 times and giving them 11,000 likes. Make that 11,001 now. That's pretty cool.
It is very cool. I'm out of breath from it.
What were you doing over there?
I went over to start setting up the weather at 6, and you started talking, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be over there.
Well, they were counting down to start, and I'm like, I think this is Betsy's read, so I just jumped in and did it. We're out of time. Back tomorrow at 5. We hope to see you then.
Hot mess. What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Now at 6, charges dismissed. A judge throws out murder charges against Tevin Biles. The dramatic reaction from family members in the courtroom. Also, broadband in the budget. A state amendment would prevent cities from operating programs that help bring high-speed internet to their communities. We'll have the latest on the fight. Blood shortage.
There is an emergency need for type O blood, both positive and negative.
Why hospitals are reporting an uptick in demand for blood in Northeast Ohio. And the Browns are back. Minicamp starts today. Jimmy tells us what the players are doing this week in Berea.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.